All right, first things first. Ask everybody, make sure your cell phones ringers are turned off. You can take pictures, do whatever you want. And everybody in the back, you're trying to be all cool sitting in the back, come to the front.
Come on up here. Come on, let's get
plenty of room.
Let's act like we know each other. Come
Exactly.
on. Yeah.
Make the latecomers sit in the back. All right. You already did. I see. You will get first question. I guarantee it. What's that? What's that? Is video recording allowed?
Yeah, it's fine with me. Yes.
He says yes. Go for it.
Yeah, it's just a $25,000 fee at the end. That's okay.
And you have a waiver, right?
Make the check out to my charity, favorite charity.
So,
Sam J. Jones.
Sam J. Jones, born in Chicago, but a local boy, grew up in Sacramento, or did some time, spent some time, a little bit, did some time, that's terrible,
Yeah,
in Sacramento.
I spent some time behind bars in Sacramento, yeah. I went to high school, Miraloma High School. I don't know if you know it.
Any Miraloma High School folks out here? No? Okay.
Class of 72.
And served in the Marine Corps.
Yes, right out of high school, straight to Marine Corps. Yeah.
Played semi-pro football in Seattle.
That's correct.
Hoping to get hooked up with the Seahawks, right?
Yeah, the reason why whenever you hear semi-pro, it means they didn't make the cut on the pro team. Okay, that's actually what happened when I joined the Corps right out of high school. I joined to be a lifer forever. So I started playing Marine Corps football, and I discovered I'm pretty good. I'm so good, matter of fact, I think the NFL needs me. So I finished my time in the Corps. I went to Seattle. That's where my grandparents were. And tried out for the Seahawks, and they said, no, we don't need you. So, it's amazing how life works. That was 1970, let me see, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1976. And, that's kind of devastating. And so the lesson I learned that if you, remain a little bit optimistic about life, God will open another door for you immediately. So I think within 2 days after I was declined, I ended up playing, for their farm team, the Burien Flyers. I read this article 2 days later on Clint Eastwood, and that's what inspired me to go to Hollywood. I went to Hollywood, arrived there, I think, this month of 42 years ago, 1977. Yeah. So when one door is shut, maybe if you're open-minded, maybe a window or another door, it will open up for you. Yeah.
So your film debut was the movie 10, right?
That's right. Yeah,
and
first film, yeah.
And a lot of people, I don't think, realize this with Flash Gordon, but you beat out some big-name actors for the role. I mean, at least the rumors, the stories go. Kurt Russell was up for that, maybe even Arnold Schwarzenegger, and here comes Sam Jones from the Pacific Northwest. How did you get the role?
Well, I threatened them. I said, you need to walk away right now. Remember, I'm kind of fresh out of the Marine Corps, so no, you know what's funny about that? I never knew that until years later. Because during that whole audition or casting process, Dino De Laurentiis, the producer, he was very non-disclosure, confidentiality at all times. So literally, and that process was probably 8 or 9 months, meetings, auditions. So the actors would go in one door, and some would be told to park at a different parking lot. And then we would exit a different door. Nobody knew. So I didn't know that Arnold and Kurt, I had no idea until, many years later when it's brought up, yeah.
And were you familiar with Flash Gordon, who you were playing, or how did
you
play?
I saw a few comic books as a kid, but I didn't start becoming a reader until later on, like last year. But I got the comic books back when I was, in the late 50s and the early 60s, because I like those little toy soldiers on the back page, You order 100 toy soldiers, I think for 99 cents, Back in 1959 or 1960, I tell my dad, it's only 99 cents for 100 toys. Son, that's too expensive. Come on, this is 1959. That's way too much money. Anyway,
the dollar was actually real money back then.
Yeah. But no, I grew up watching Buster Crabbe, the old black and white serials, and that was wonderful. He was, matter of fact, when I got the part and we started to promote Flash Gordon right before Christmas 1980, Buster Crabbe, the original Flash Gordon, traveled with me, and we promoted it. It was incredible. He was fantastic.
All right, well, this is only a half an hour panel, so we're going to go right into questions. If you have a question for Sam Jones, raise your hand. We'll call on you in the order we see it, and we'll just go. Who's got a question for Sam Jones?
And doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to answer it either. Go ahead.
Right there, go ahead.
Is there ever plans to do a sequel to Flash Gordon?
Yes. You know, it's a funny thing in the movie business. You know, they call it sequels or, you know, their new version. But you know, usually when somebody says, "Oh, I've got this new project in development," it usually means they don't have the money. But the crazy thing about Flash Gordon the past 25 years is reputable people. I think the first one was the guy who did Van Helsing, Stephen Sommers. He bought this, you know, he acquired the screenplay rights. It just sat dormant. He did not pick up the option. Years later, Neil Moritz, right, who did a lot of the Fast and Furious films, right? He acquired the screenplay rights, did not pick up the option. And then Fox picked it up 4 years ago, Fox Studios, hello, in development for 4 years. And they decided, for whatever reason, not to follow through. And we're talking about huge names attached to Fox. We're talking John Davis, if you Google him as a producer. Matthew Vaughn, you know, come on, huge. Kick-Ass, The Kingsman, all that. And then, of course, Fox just sold to Disney. So now they're going to do Flash Gordon, the new Flash Gordon as a animated movie. So it is what it is, you know, it's just the way it is.
Well, now that just leads you into a voiceover career, right?
Well, yeah, we do that, yeah.
All right, sir, go ahead.
So your character in the movie obviously is a pro all-star football player.
Yeah.
And do you think that any of your experience with being able to play football in the Marine Corps kind of helped influence them asking you? Is that all?
Oh, yes, of course, yeah. I mean, it's a no-brainer. Excuse me. And then Dino De Laurentiis always had this unique, part of his casting phase, or his mindset in casting a character, an actor, was a lot of similarities. If you take a picture of Buster Crabbe at the age of 24, you put it next to me at the age of 24, oh man, you're gonna say, are you freaking kidding me? We look like twin brothers, really. So a lot of his casting was based on similarities and likeness. And of course, you know, I mean, but even at that young age, even if I had not played football, come on, any 24-year-old, you could do practically anything, you know. Nowadays, I can't imagine a 65. I still do my thing with the athletics and the workouts, but I'm not going to roll around on the concrete floor like I did at the age of 23 and 24. I'm just not going to do it, you know. I can, but I know I could do some rolls and tumbles on this carpet floor, but I'll still be hurting tomorrow, you know. Let the stuntman do it. Come on, man, you know, let him do it.
In the green shirt, go ahead.
What was it like filming Ted putting on the Flash Gordon outfit and having your hair?
Yeah, it's great, yeah. If you didn't hear the question, what was it like playing Ted and putting the Flash Gordon costume back on? Well, I mean, thank God, it was a new Flash Gordon costume, okay? Made just a little bit bigger for me, all right? But no, it was fun. I mean, it was like, it's sort of a disconcerting idea or question when somebody says, hey, you know, Seth called me and said, hey, I want you to play yourself. So, you know, I said, oh, okay, that sounds kind of like fun. But when you read the script, you know, after I read the script, I said, Seth, okay, this is pieces of me or parts of me, but it's not really all of me. I mean, yes. Did I party in the 80s? Yes, of course. I mean, who didn't party in the 80s? Unless you were a 1-year-old or 2-year-old or something. But yeah, it was fun. I made it fun, and but it's just parts of me and pieces of me. You know, we really had to edit and tweak some stuff. You know, really did. Yeah.
Any questions? Well, let me follow. Okay. Well, yeah. Go ahead. Yeah, please.
In the Life After Flash documentary, there's a segment there where they're interviewing your son, and he's saying how unhappy he was with some of the dialogue that you had to recite.
Right.
and I'm wondering, is it Dad? How was that? And then seeing it on the documentary, because now
Yeah.
it's there and everybody can see that your son was not okay.
Yeah, did you hear the question if you didn't raise your hand? Okay. You may repeat it or you?
Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, so the question is, there's a new documentary on my life right now called Life After Flash. And they interviewed a lot of my family members. And so the question is, he's asking about, when they interviewed my oldest son, they asked him about what he felt about his dad, me, playing the part in Ted. And he was very honest. He said, tell you the truth, I didn't like it. I didn't like the dialogue he had to do. Sort of took him out of that superhero type image, and sort of, not that it tainted me, but it was a different edge. Now we did tweak a lot of that stuff. There were some long monologues and speeches about. Seth wrote a 3-page speech for me about the benefits of doing every narcotic ever invented or created. I said, Seth, I can't do this. I can't talk about the positive attributes of doing drugs, especially every single one, and some that haven't even been invented yet, that you even wrote. And he said, well, why? I said, well, because, I'll be me, I'm an actor, I got that, but if you're asking me to be Sam Jones, that's going to confuse some of the younger Flash Gordon fans and all that. So we tweaked that. But my son was honest. When they did this documentary, they asked all my family members and friends questions about that. And they asked me, well, what should I say? I said, just tell the truth. So I'm proud of my son for telling the truth. He didn't like that idea. I mean, Ted within itself, I think, was a bit deceiving if you think about it. Here, Ross, here they are advertising in the early stages of Ted, this cute little teddy bear. Well, think about all the families, right? Maybe you took your little 5-year-old daughter and your 7-year-old son. You go, look at what's the cute bear. Well, within a few minutes, you're at you're at a crossroads. You have to make a decision. Do I stay here and cover their eyes and ears, or do we walk out now? Well, I know whatever. Most of you stayed, okay? And you started laughing so hard you forgot about covering their eyes and their ears. So we tainted our kids. But yeah, I'm proud of. Look, I'm proud of the work I did, and I know it was a bit much for some people, all that kind of stuff and all that.
I'm a Mormon and I love it.
You're really right. It's great. It was fun. I mean, look, movies are movies. We go there, we tramp. Well, thank you. That's for you because you're talking
that's
so
for
much.
you. That's
okay.
for you. We want to make sure your voice stays hard.
Yeah, I know I've been screaming to people, mainly all the little kids. No, I forgot where I was, but yeah, no, it was fun. I mean, it's movies. Our job as actors is to transport you to this whole nother world, this adventure. We can sit back, or we can start over brainstorming what's going on, or we can just sit back and enjoy the ride. And I think that's the way it is with Life After Flash and with Flash Gordon. Just sit back and enjoy the ride, Yeah.
In the black hat, the Niners hat.
Yeah.
Okay, so Seth MacFarlane, you used the Flash image in that film. Was there any other ideas over the years where someone wanted to parlay the Flash in something you didn't approve of, or just completely didn't think of?
You mean you mean another sequel of Flash Gordon?
It's like how Seth used.
Oh, the theme, the Flash Gordon theme.
Did someone ever approach you and say, we want to use Flash Gordon in this? And you said, I don't know. We want to do a commercial, or we want to.
Oh, I did this other thing for my friend, another comedy that's out too. We got a couple of films, independent films. Oliver Stone's son, Sean Stone, did this crazy off-the-wall comedy called Enter the Fist and the Golden Fleece. And I come in, now in Ted, they put it to, I don't know why Seth wanted to put a wig on me, especially a $10,000 blonde wig, a $10,000 blonde. I said, just freaking dye my hair blonde. Why do you want to spend $10K? He goes, no. The script says inexplicitly Sam J. Jones shows up 35 years later wearing the exact same hairdo. I said, oh, I got it, okay. So the reason why I say that is, so I went to do this comedy for Oliver Stone's son, Sean Stone, and I show up, they got a wig for me that they paid $10 for, okay? A blonde wig for $10. That's what it looked like, and I did this movie with this blonde wig on. It was wild. That was fun, because it was over the top, you know, and you could do anything. You got at that point, you have a license, anything goes, you know. So yeah, that was kind of funky, but yeah. And by the way, so for TED 2, they called me 5 years later and they said, "Hey, do you happen to have our $10,000 blonde wig for TED 2?" I said, "No, I'm not the hair and the makeup department." They said, "Well, somebody stole it." I said, "That's not my." So for TED 2, they spent $5,000 on a blonde. They were not about to drop another $10K, so they spent $5K on that. Anyway, yeah.
One of these days you're going to do a con, somebody's going to come up with that wig for you to sign.
See?
Yeah, that's totally going to happen.
See?
Hey, go ahead, please, right here.
Yes, can you talk a little bit about your experiences working on Walker, Texas Ranger and Renegade?
Walker, Texas Ranger, and Renegade.
Yeah.
Two of my favorites.
Well, come on, Chuck Norris. Come on, he's the best, man. Come on. Yeah, I think I did 3 or 4 episodes of Walker, and Chuck was wonderful. Matter of fact, I had not seen him in 25 years, and he was signing in Texas at a Comic-Con last year. So I peeked in the curtain because he was off on a sort of a different area. Oh, my God, his line must have been 400 people deep, right? So his wife was coming up behind the curtain. She said, "Sam, come here. You got to say hi to Chuck." And sure enough, I walked in. He turned around and gave me a gigantic hug. He said, "My God, Sam, it's been 25 years. So just a wonderful guy. I mean, all the stories you hear about, you know, just really serving people, that's him. And Renegades, I got a great story about, that's Lorenzo Lamas, right? So Lorenzo was like me back then. We like to do our own fight scenes, not stunts, but fight scenes. And I mean, still, it's all about safety. You don't want to get hurt. And there's no pads, and he wants me to tackle him, and then roll on top of him, and then sort of, you know, and then he gets on top of me, and he punches me. I said, "Lorenzo," I said, "I don't think you should say you or me." Okay. I said,
We'll switch that one, we'll leave that one.
"Hello, hello. Hello, hello." Okay. You hear me?
Try this, go to this one. Okay. We'll turn off the other. Just unplug it. There we go. Let's see.
Okay, so
Turn,
testing.
turn all of them off?
That's it. So anyway, hello,
There we
hello.
go.
There's my sexy voice. So I sort of encouraged Lorenzo, you know, don't let me tackle you, okay? But then I'll tackle, but don't let me roll on top of you, because, you know, I outweigh you a lot. I know you're in great shape, but I don't think it's a good idea with my body weight. Because remember, no padding, it's little pebbles and hard grass and all that stuff, you know, dirt, whatever. He goes, no, do it, don't worry. Well, sure enough, I tackled him, I backed off, but when I rolled on top of him, I cracked his rib. Remember, I told him. So that was it. So filming was done for the day. He went to the hospital. But I knew right away, there's certain things you don't do. In TED 2, was it TED 2 where I tackled Mark Wahlberg? Was that the Comic-Con scene? Or was that TED 2, right? Mm-hmm. So yeah, we're doing a little fight scene where I tackle him over the table, and he wanted me to roll on top of him, which is okay because there was some cushion. So I did that, and everybody was fine, was safe, because I shared with him the Lorenzo Lamas story. He goes, "Okay, thank you for sharing it with me."
We have time for about one. I do want to ask is, you have talked about in the past that Flash Gordon as a character is something that Flash Gordon's an everyman, and your kind of path to stardom has been that of an everyman as well. Can you talk a little bit about that, like how you feel Flash Gordon and Sam Jones are kind of similar in a lot of ways?
No, I think they're exactly alike. I know it sounds crazy, and I don't believe me. I'm not speaking with any arrogance at all. I'm really not. I just, my older age now, and being remember I've been an actor for 42 years, but I've been a Marine longer. So I like our yes to be yes, our no to be no. I like to cut to the chase, eliminate all the BS, all the nonsense. But yeah, it's just, first of all, Flash Gordon is one of the few superheroes who does not have superpowers, you know? He's the go-to guy. And I mean, in myself now, I consider him, and again, not arrogance. If something went down right now, like bad guys came in here right now, to me, I'm sorry, I'm not waiting around to call. I'm going to neutralize the threat within seconds. That's just in my makeup. I can't help it. That's just who I am. So yes, Flash Gordon's the same thing. He's the guy you depend on, and we're just like that. And I don't apologize for it. I don't say, oh no, he's just an actor. Yeah, the similarities are almost identical, which is a bit scary. Yeah.
So if people want to learn more about what you're doing right now, can they follow you on social media, or where can they find you online?
Well, yeah, I mean, my wife handles all that, but I'm doing all. Just make sure if you Facebook me or Instagram or Twitter that it's the verified, right? The check mark. Because I busted a couple guys that Facebook twice that were impersonating me. And anyway, Facebook helped us out. If they weren't, I was going to pay them a personal visit myself. But my wife said, don't do that. Okay, don't do that. Okay. But yeah, just make sure. But no, we got a bunch of independent films out this year. If you haven't seen the documentary, Life After Flash, get it. Because I'm so transparent in it. And I really address us guys. I talk about us guys. Well, it's entertainment based, but I really call it sort of a do's and don'ts of life, And I address issues that I go through now and I went through back then. And it's mainly for, it's for everybody. It's mainly for young men, middle-aged men, and men my age and older. Basically about, just knock off the baby talk, get over yourself, and stop pointing fingers, stop blaming others, and usually, and go get a freaking job, and provide for your family. And I had to learn, I had this label over my life for years. Oh, I am an actor. No, I learned real quick, and my wife was our spouses are great, by the way, especially when she told me 16 years ago, she said, you're a very talented actor. I've been watching you for 6 months, wait by the phone, it's not ringing. At that time we had, 2 kids in diapers, 1 out of diapers. She said, there's the door, come back when you're providing for this family. So I learned real quick, it's not about, I don't care if we're a physicist, a teacher, an engineer, a construction worker, actor, we need to change the label in our life. That label should be, I'm a working man and I provide for myself and my family. That's what it's got to be. And I lived that life for years. And so I went out and I listened to my wife, humbled myself, listened to my wife. I got, being a former Marine, so I did, by the way, I forgot to tell you, when I walked out that door, when she kicked me out, I came back two hours later. But I had a job working for my buddy who owned a construction company, right? And I'm in my mid-40s, I think. I said to myself, okay, I'm good at this construction, but I can't do this, okay, forever and ever. So I got retrained up in what we call Federal Protective Doctrine 16 years ago. I became a security professional. A lot of people say bodyguard. I started, I moved to San Diego, where we run a lot of security operations in Mexico and other they call it high-risk environments around the world. So as soon as I did that, my whole life changed. My wife got happy, the kids were happy, I started providing, and guess what happened within 2 years when I listened to my wife, humbled myself, got over myself, got a freaking job? What do you think started to happen? The phone started to ring to do more movies. Isn't that wild? So that's my story and my sort of life lesson for men in the documentary. And it's a true story. And we got to be able to do that. We really do. Instead of, my way. Anyway.
On that note, how about a huge StocktonCon round of applause?
Yeah.
So Sam is up on the fun deck. You can see him for the rest of the day today and into tomorrow.
I'll be on the fun deck. What does that mean? I'm going to have some fun.
Give it up for Sam J. Jones.